welcome back to Over the Humanities, episode 57 this time, which I believe Patrick has already entitled All Types and Flavours.
All Types and Flavours?
Yeah. Sorry,
We're not going to tell you why yet.
I didn't go, All Types and Flavours.
All Types and Flavours, mate.
All Types and Flavours. Let's Poddington P.
How long have you been working on that?
Well, it just popped into my head.
Popped?
Yeah. Sorry, Beebs.
Bye.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to nerd stuff because we haven't spoken about this sort of stuff. Not really since the end of year. God, January. We haven't.
No, do you know how I know
stuff.
that? Because I've been keeping a list of stuff that I've enjoyed on my phone. Because usually, like, we do a podcast and it's been like a few months since we did the last one, and it's like, what did I enjoy the last month or two? I've been keeping a list, and I noticed one of the things on the list that I should have talked about by now and haven't. I was like, Jesus, really? And looked it up. But yeah, it's handy for end of year stuff as well, because again, you forget what you played in January, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of got a few bits on here I've been noting as I've gone, and now that's gone into notes for the next one as well, so I've already got a couple for the next one. So
should we mention off the bat what we're not going to talk about? Because there's like a big game out at the minute I think people are expecting us to talk about that I don't think we are. We're not going to... I don't think we're going to talk about God of War today. I think it's too fresh.
It's not that. It's more that I've got some stuff ready for the next Twin Humanities, and we put up a bit of a message on Twitter sort of asking if Souls fans were interested in it, if they were curious about the mechanics, or if they were just swayed by the reviews, or if they just weren't asked at all. And there seemed to be a fair bit of confusion across the board. I generally thought people were super up for it, but we'll cover that in the next Twin Humanities with discussing the mechanics in the world, and as to whether there is any crossover, and if people do like Soul stuff, so whether they might like it, and what we think as well, which we shall remain stum about.
But if you've looked at my Twitter, you'll know how I feel.
Yeah. If you looked at my Twitter, you'll have no idea. I'm a man of mystery. I'm a gentleman made of curtains. What's he thinking?
The summer of your mind.
Yeah, what's about behind him? Steady. Yes, that didn't come across very well. We've got three things each to discuss today.
3 things, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have a bit of natter about some of the nerd stuff we've been doing, and then we've got some for the next time anyway. We've got another Twin Humanities more or less ready to go for the podcast after this, and stuff. But it's again, it's shifts and stuff that have kept us really away from one another, and I don't really want to drown people in episodes either. I'd rather people be going like, "Oh, there's a new episode of All the Humanities out," rather than like, "Oh my god, I've missed the last 6."
Yeah, it's like there's this cunt I know that keeps putting out these videos of like Dark Souls gameplay like every day, and it's getting a bit much now.
It's you, isn't it?
It's me. I'm that guy.
Self-promotion again.
Do you know what? Wasn't even going to self-promote, but the opportunity just was there. You did give it to me like a vol-au-vent.
This a vol-au-vent. I volleyed the vol-au-vent into your goal.
Don't mind if I do. Hump.
Right, so since you've been self-promoting, I'm going to start then.
Yeah, you go first. I'm going to drink my delicious orange and mango drink, and I'm going to let you talk for a minute.
Orange?
Yeah, I'm a cliche of a man.
I'm drinking coffee, so welcome also. Right, I'm going to start with Kamen Rider Build!
Ooh.
God, Jesus wept. This Jesus wept. It's the first time I've really had a chance to natter about this, and the show is now kind of hitting its final third, which is crazy. It's been on since September, I think. September, October.
You were talking about this a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's a new one every year, and last year there was the president of the company sort of came out and said that he thought Kamen Rider had lost its edge, and that was the point where he was. They were doing kind of a darker Kamen Rider. They were doing. They went into Kamen Rider Amazons, at the same time as the kind of video games meets the hospital drama of Kamen Rider Xaid was on, which was kind of a polar opposite and sort of what Kamen Rider's become. And Kamen Rider Build has clearly been affected by Amazons. While Amazons wasn't sort of grim and gritty, it was sort of more of a darker sort of side of the universe. Like in the same way as DC Comics used to have, like even before things went to Vertigo, you got like your Swamp Things and your Animal Man and your Doom Patrol. You got the kind of darker, without being super grim and gritty or bloodthirsty or sweary or anything like that.
Sort of more mature dark than.
Yeah, I mean, and
look at all this Spawn blood.
It's strange because Kamen Rider Build sort of hits the same level of maturity as I'd say the DC Batman animated series used to do.
Oh, really?
It's got it's got that kind of tone to it. The sort where somebody from 5 to 50 can enjoy it and get something out of it, and that's been a bit of a surprise, really, because it's played its hand in like some sensational ways, and I found myself getting more and more caught up in it. I mean, this year's is kind of the premise is about a Japanese space agency going to Mars and retrieving magical property known as the Pandora Box.
Okay.
This is returned to Earth and presented to dignitaries, scientists, journalists. A security guard breaks through the crowd, touches the box, and chaos ensues. Giant sky walls rise from the ground, hundreds of feet high, causing death, memory loss, dividing Japan into 3 distinct sections: Hokuto, Seito, and Toto. Each of these sort of sections are very suspicious of the other. Mysterious red energy. What?
Sorry.
What?
The way you said they were suspicious.
Well, they are. I mean, like you've essentially got a country that's been divided into 3. One of them has the Pandora Box, and the others are undoubtedly suspicious that they're weaponizing it. Nobody knows what's going off in the other side, in the other parts of the country and stuff. And there's this mysterious sort of red energy shooting up even beyond the walls themselves, and anyone who tries to pass through dies instantly, although gaps between it have been discovered as time goes on. Our story follows an amnesiac called Sentu Kiru, who's found by a friendly coffee shop owner.
Fuck me.
Suchi Isuragi, who takes him in and, along with Sento's knack for science, helps him develop the build driver and become Kamen Rider Build. The build driver forges powers around bottles, which are purified by the owner's daughter, Misora, and certain 2-bottle combinations, when placed in the driver, form a best match scenario, giving Sento the conjoined abilities of each. So the first up comes Rabbit Tank. So that's Build's most used form, giving him the ability to leap huge heights but also be really tough. Other combinations as it goes along, and each of these combinations are interchangeable as long as there's a best match between them, include Gorillamon, which is Diamond and Gorilla, Ninja Comic, where he can multiply like comic panels, swords made of comic panels, each with a different ability when highlighted. There's Octopus Light, Hawk Gatling. There's bottles for Fire Engine, Rose, Vacuum Cleaner, Lion. They come thick and fast. And
Hang on, did you say Vacuum Cleaner Lion?
No, there's one for Vacuum Cleaner and there's one for Lion.
But do they not match?
I think Vacuum Cleaner goes... I've seen it with Fire Engine, if I remember rightly.
Right.
So you can essentially put fires out and vacuum them up. Yeah.
Vacuum up the soot when you're finished.
Yeah. Well, vacuum the fire in, and then I think you can use the nozzle of the fire engine to...
New Kamen Rider from JML.
It's great. Yeah.
Do you like vacuums? Do you like fire engines?
So these come thick and fast, and then they start to evolve further into things like this Rabbit Tank Sparkling, which makes Kamen Rider kind of look a little bit like a Pepsi can. But that's... Oh, and on the way, because I saw a thing today with different toy bottles for Japan for abilities we've not seen before. Get ready for this. We've got Penguin Skateboard, Bee Submarine, Deer Pyramid, Giraffe Cyclone, Tiger UFO, Whale Jet. There's one for the movie that came out last Christmas, which is Wizard Orange.
That's my online username.
So that one will, I presume, be the powers of Kamen Rider Wizard and Kamen Rider Gaim. But yeah. Can
we just go back to Deer Pyramid for a second?
Yeah, I don't know what's going off there. I presume it will... I don't know. But if there's one thing that can be said for it, and you can apply this to a lot of Kamen Rider stuff, they're not. It isn't just like, oh, he shoots lasers out of his eyes. It's you're looking at it, and you're going like, oh my god, that's really cool. They're really unusual powers, and even with like going back to Kamen Rider Gaim, where all the powers were based on fruit, and that ended up going into a story about like the Tree of Life and the Yggdrasil and former lives and alternate realities, and I love the way that things aren't bland and they're very much their own thing, and the powers in it are just fantastic. So alongside Sento is former boxer Banjo Ryuga, an escaped convict who's been set up for the murder of a local scientist who's fighting for his innocence and the loss of his girlfriend. In captivity, Banjo was experimented on by the evil Faust Corporation, who were turning regular people into monsters called the Smash, which is what happened to Banjo's girlfriend. And Banjo initially gains powers by holding on to a bottle containing the spirit of his departed ex. Sento and Banjo try to uncover the mysteries of their own origins, find out more about the Faust, the Smash, and just what happened to cause the Skywall incident in the first place. In an amazing twist on having informants. You know how like detective stories would be like, oh, I've got a snitch on the streets, or I can find out this, I can find out that.
Jimmy the Rat.
The coffee shop's daughter Misato also has another alias, Mitan, who is an internet idol. She can upload a video asking for details on Smash sightings, people, etc., with the seeming payback being that Banjo has to go into the adventure in fancy dress. Thus far, he's been a delivery man, a doctor, a clown, an old lady, and a fella from Yakuza.
Are you kidding? Fuck me.
What? But it's really weird, like when you're going into like a serious moment, and you're just thinking like, oh man, everything's going to crack off, and you see like Banjo literally dressed up as a clown, and there's this initial laugh, but then you still straight into it anyway, and the show's got this. I said it plays about with tone quite a lot. There's a lot of jump cuts and very physical comedy in there, but also it can go like super serious as well. And I've never seen a show that's played around with tone in the same way as this does. And all it means is that the point that I'm at now, I've been through everything with these folks. I mean, there was a scene recently with Misato and Banjo where they're talking about where things are and the relationship with Sento and what's happening and stuff. And Banjo has been like completely and utterly like fucked up. He's like cut all over the place, and they're having a talk in this. It's like an old children's playground, and like the surrounding area is devastated and stuff, and they have this amazing sort of conversation, and it gets quite emotional, and then like Banjo just goes down this slide, and you just like, what? And like at the bottom of it, he's like, ow. And it's just really funny just seeing him have this conversation, then suddenly like shove himself with a little bit of joy down this slide, and realise that he's like completely knackered at when he hits the ground, and there's this sort of level of laughing but also concern, and I it's amazing the way that it plays with that kind of tone. you don't know what to expect, because it's not like, oh, it must be grey and brown and grim and gritty and there must be blood and swearing, and because it's just everything, and I love that. The boys go into battle against Faust's leader, who's called Night Rogue, who uses a mist power to transform, along with the mysterious Bloodstalk, who appears to be playing both sides. He's just the best Loki trickster character ever. And whenever you see him, like, whichever side he turns up on, you just go like, oh fuck. But there's almost like this degree of like, shit's going to go down and it's going to be nasty. But also like, there's something quite, I don't know, I'm loath to say lovable about him. But there's something quite endearing about the way that Would you say he's a Patches? Like, he turns up, he's going to fuck you up, but you love him anyway? A little bit, but there's just this degree of everything that he sets out to do, he's done. So when he turns up, there's not this sort of like, oh my god, maybe he'll fuck up this time, maybe he won't, because everything that he's done thus far has been exactly what he wanted to do, which gives him like a really sinister level to go along with it. Even in like when later you see who Stark is, there's a bit where he comes for a conversation with Sento before something, and he's kind of seems to be doing something for the good side of things, or at least in that moment, and he's just sitting on the side eating a bar of chocolate, and you're like, okay, okay, and this again, there's a confidence in the writing in that kind of way, where you just like, man, you know exactly what you're doing. It's not as if you've got a cookie cutter here. You've got someone with sides, and just I don't know what to expect from him, and that makes him really watchable. So yeah, this worked brilliantly for the first 12 episodes or so, and then everything changed. There was an absolutely huge rug pull and a change of pace as one of the other warred nations in Japan, Toto, invaded, led by Kamen Rider Grease and his three goons, the Toto Guardians. Sento as Build and Banjo, who's newly transformed into Kamen Rider Cross Z. They were just outclassed, outmatched, underpowered, with Sento doing his best to uncover more powerful abilities, including, as I mentioned earlier, the rabbit tank sparkling, and eventually a darker power which, if left unchecked, if he's not stopped, can lead him to kill uncontrollably, mindlessly, no matter which side the person he's facing is on. The show's amazing at these smaller details, revealing that before the invasion, Kamen Rider Grease owned a farm, and the soil became barren from the Skywall incident. So he and his cohorts actually joined up purely to feed their families. So everyone's got a reason for fighting, no matter the side, until there's a certain point where you think somebody else has got a reason and an alibi, and it's a lie. And suddenly you're like, okay, but it's not just we're the bad guys. There's something underneath it that makes you go, well, that's the reason you're fighting. And in this case, it's like super relatable. Things continue to amp up and amp up. There are huge shocks, and the whole thing's just gobsmacking. The started stuff, those first 12 episodes are very sort of Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, I guess. And it eventually evolves into the best X-Men I've ever seen on screen. At the point I'm at now, they've essentially introduced a Hellfire Club, and it's all cracking off. There's this real feeling of a normal man being thrown into something much bigger than he is, a situation that's amplified when he's essentially forced to join the people he's been battling against to protect innocent people from being killed during the invasion of another region. The way the show, I mentioned it's the way it plays with the tones, awesome. It's and that physical comedy and the deeper emotional stuff. I genuinely love Sento, Banjo, and Misato so much. Sento's fighting for the people, Banjo's fighting to keep Sento smiling. And even though bottle purification forces Misato to pass out, she still does it. And it puts her at the forefront of a huge decision where Build and Grease battle atop this massive skyscraper for the fate of their individual sides. And she may well have to kill Kamen Rider Build at a certain point herself, which is just had my heart in my mouth. So it may well be the best Kamen Rider I've ever seen. The writing's superb. The leads continue to get better and better. The lass who plays Misato, she has some huge scenes. She's an amazing actress with these incredibly commanding eyes. My God, I've sobbed at some of the scenes she's been in. As of this weekend just gone, I'm up to date, so 32 episodes into what I presume is about 45, 46. And it's just
46?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it's absolutely not resting on its laurels. I mean, like, the budgets of these things are so small, but they go in with such ambition and such excitement, and it's just... Whereas, Hollywood's got their, hundreds of millions of dollars to use on their superhero stuff, and it's focus tested, and it's been through no end of screenwriters. You just get the impression that obviously these things are planned a couple of years in advance, but generally sort of the same writer writes the entire thing. And I don't know, there's just something endearing and honest and sincere about it. It's still kicking in with idea. And there's been, even in these last few weeks, there's been a few very specific touches of absolute class in the direction in particular. I mean, there was one episode we watched at the weekend where there was another kind of battle between like the one of the other areas of Japan, and there were huge stakes, and they got the people in the Kamen Rider suits like battling and using powers, and it pulled beyond the suit actors and costumes and cut to the actors playing the roles, darkening the room and moving spotlights between each of them as they spoke. It was like a play. It was like so theatrical. And then I don't think it was too long after when they kind of went outside and like these sort of arguments like and speeches went on as the suit actors were there, and they used a projector to project moments that had happened in the series while the actor was talking about it over the actor, over the background, over like steps and stuff, and it's like, oh my God, that's really good. And it seems like there are these really inventive moments of theatre that they can bring to stuff as well, and it's not just let's CG this up, because with these things the CG is often like the weak link, but me and Ray were just going like, Christ, that's amazing. I finished sort of watching on Sunday and got up to date with Pete. I couldn't shake it all of Sunday. On Monday morning, it was open. It was on my mind, and I ordered a Kamen Rider Build T-shirt in the afternoon.
Saw that T-shirt. It's a good T-shirt.
Yeah, it's a beautiful T-shirt. And Tokusatsu Network the other day stated that the Kamen Rider Build Summer movie, which follows the series, has put out a casting call for 3,000 extras. And I'm hoping to God it's an invasion from Mars. The show is just the best thing. I'm shaken by it. I'm smitten with it. And yeah, I can't shake it. It's so good.
Do you know what's okay? So you've been telling what 15 minutes you've been talking about this now?
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
It's not a complaint, but do you know what the problem is with that? All I have remembered is the phrase "deer pyramid."
I hope you've been paying more attention than that, because I've been
tried
excited to talk.
But I kept thinking about the deer pyramid.
I will be sure to send you a picture when Deer Pyramid launches.
It's good. Like that's like, that's a better episode name, isn't it? Deer Pyramid. What does that mean?
It is. Well, like even with the stuff like you've got Octopus Light, where you can make things completely dark and get away, or you can brighten the darkness. Or the Ninja comic one is great because you can essentially do like a Jamie Madrox and the Multiple Man and sort of become like other versions. You can have multiple versions of yourself. But the sword has got that uses has got different comic panels on it, and by clicking a button on the side, it will give like a different ability. So it can become fire, it can put off steam, so you can disappear. There's all these like different things, but each one of them is a comic panel on the sword on the side, and it lights up, like I say, when the button's pressed. There's just loads and loads of really neat ideas in it, and like I say, those powers, nothing's done that before, especially in those kind of combinations. And it's cool. I mean, like Gorillamond got the power of gorilla. You also turn to diamond.
Obviously.
But yeah, there's tons of them. But it seems to be Banjo's the one that can always predict the best match. So I don't know. It's great, and the level of comedy and seriousness, and just the level of world building as well. Like, to be doing what they're doing on the budget that they're doing is just insane. I'd wager the entire series probably doesn't cost like an episode of one of Marvel's really dull, unimaginative Netflix series, where they seem to be, afraid of doing anything. Where you've got all this sort of.
I love superhero shows about miserable people being miserable.
Well, this is the thing, like. It makes me laugh, like even in the early episodes where like Misato was kind of in this room and like purifying a bottle, and when she'd done it, like the door goes and there's this like, and you see everybody physically jump when the door opens and stuff, and there's this real knack of physical comedy that's even almost like Harold Lloyd-ish. In that regard, but it can still go into like the serious stuff. But you've laughed with these people, you've cried with these people, and within the all kinds of everything, you don't know what to expect, and that's always pretty good fun. It's amazing. I love it to pieces.
I would have questions, but I don't know if any question would do any of that justice.
Fire a question. I'm just drawing curtains. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Like, I'm trying to. How do I frame this? How do I phrase this? Like, so is it a laugh?
It's a laugh,
because you know how I like my shows to be a bit of a laugh. Is it a laugh?
It's a laugh. It's really, really funny. But. There's a massive plot going on. There are serious moments in there, like moments of real drama. But and everything weaves together so brilliantly. And it got to a point at the weekend where Sento was going to do something very, very dangerous and very, very brave. And it cut to him, and rather than it being kind of this, as you'd imagine somebody looking depressed or looking down or looking out over a waterfront, you just saw him sort of sitting on sort of his bike, ready to do all of this, and he was just breathing in deeply, and he smiled. And I was like, if somebody can smile towards darkness like that, that's just the most inspiring and brilliant thing. The way the boys all react is fantastic. Just there's a family there, and like I say, I care about all of them because I have like laughed and cried with them and all that sort of stuff. It really is just a supremely class act. But I like superhero stuff, and it's amongst the best that I've ever experienced. But that level of the rug pull with it when it gets to episode 12ish, where the the invasion comes in and stuff, and all of a sudden you see people running through the streets and buildings getting destroyed, and you're like, oh my god, because and with them filming in urban environments as well, the suits look phenomenal within normality. And it feels like, like the Marvel Universe when it started, you get like your Spider-Man going through Manhattan. It would very, very much be like this ordinary guy who doesn't know what to do for the best, but he's got these amazing powers. And it was very relatable in that regard. And, Sento's fantastic. There's so much going on in that show. It's just crazy. I even watched a YouTube video the other day which was introducing the characters from the start of the series, and I was like, I've come so far with these characters. They're almost unrecognisable at this point because they've done so much. But it's phenomenal that they're doing this with television, and like I say, 46 episodes in a year plus 2 movies.
Bonkers. How do you film that much?
I honestly don't know. I really, really don't know. I just presume that the lead-in time must give them a lot of scripts. Obviously, the costume designer has got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But all the costumes are just ballpark. They're fantastic. But yeah, they must have like a good run up to doing it. And I remember on Kamen Rider Gaim, the one about fruit, it was written by Urobuchi-san, who did Psycho-Pass. And,
okay.
And that was him. The thing that made him want to write in the first place was Kamen Rider Black from the late 80s. So he was curious to play within a family TV show, because that was the sort of thing that made him want to write in the first place. And you can see this, what appears to be like a big doofy series about suits of armor made of fruit at the start of it, but there are deeper ideals, and there's more to it. But I grew up on comics that mix the fantastical with the absurd with the brilliant, and give me ideas, just drown me in them. I love them. But don't the worst thing in the world, and this relates to how bland that Marvel Netflix stuff's just become. It's just when
very grey, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's almost as if like you're trying not to offend people, or you don't think people are get on with that. Oh, that's a bit too much. And this is just like, yeah, rabbit in a tank, penguin skateboard, deer in a pyramid.
But it's not. But it's not like a parody of the genre. Like, I mean, I've been watching. This isn't one of my things, but I've been watching One Punch Man, which is very much a parody of the whole shonen, superpowered dude thing. But that like wears its parody on its sleeve. Like it knows that it's stupid, and kind of revels in it.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's a. I wouldn't say that at all. Really, it just comes across as celebratory rather than. I mean, there's moments where it laughs at itself 100%. There was a great bit where they were doing like a little bit of a flashback to stuff that had gone on, and they were doing it via some sort of virtual reality helmet or something that was put on like Banjo, and they were showing like footage from earlier on in the series and stuff, and Banjo just went, "Who took this?" I was like, well played, absolutely well played.
That's pretty good.
So that was like a knowing little wink, but that was more to a wink at television, and the way that they do sort of flashback stuff, rather than I wouldn't say it ever takes the piss out of Tokusatsu superhero stuff at all. But it is tremendously funny, and the way it can move between tone is phenomenal. I mean,
sounds very earnest.
There's a part where it deals with this is something that I can throw to you, God. There's a part where it deals with loss and the horrors of loss, and the only time I have ever seen it done with this aplomb is the second series of Grant Morrison's Animal Man and in Gurren Lagann.
Really?
Gurren Lagann, I love the fact that I'd say the middle part of that run was just dealing with loss, and it's. I mean, if you've not seen Gurren Lagann, and there are people that won't, so I won't spoil it. But it does something really brave. About 8 episodes in, 8 to 10 episodes in, and I like that kind of rug pull. Again, I like it when somebody plays with tone like that. And Gurren Lagann's really funny, but Gurren Lagann can be really big and bombastic and phenomenal, but then it can make you laugh again. And then it can throw you into something absurd and bigger and better. And I like that. That's, Jesus Christ, that's the sort of tone that I'd say to you, because I think you would understand what I'm talking about.
Okay,
because I know how much
down,
you love Gurren Lagann.
I fucking love Gurren Lagann. Every time I watch it, like I've watched it about 4 times now, and every time there's like a couple of episodes, I'm like, oh fuck, it's this one. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I need to go get a drink. I
think there's with that there's about, is it episode 23? The one just a few from the end, which takes like a little step to the side and you, tears.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah,
but that's 100% the way that I would relate this to you in terms of tone. And whilst it's doing its own thing, that's the grounding that I'd say to you, because I love Gurren Lagann as well. But you know, within anything, make me laugh, make me cry, throw me into the unexpected, throw a thousand different ideas at me, because within all of those and that huge paint box, I don't know which colour you're reaching for next, but damn it, I'm invested. I love it.
Yeah, clearly.
Sorry, it's just my favourite thing. It's driving me up the wall. I love it so much.
Yeah. Clearly, we're at 37 minutes.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I said bloody hell at 15 and then we're
yeah.
But wait!
There's more!
So, yeah, what do you think, man?
I might give it a go. You know how these things work, though. You tell me about it. I feel like I don't need to watch it now. You've told me about it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's always...
I've got the whole synopsis here. I've been writing down as you've been talking. I think I've got it all laid out now.
I still don't think you quite expect the way that it does things, because I've not seen a TV series go from kind of Harold Lloydish comedy and you know, jump cuts to big massive sort of superhero stuff. But
the problem I've got is like it's not on Crunchy, is it?
No, I mean this is part of the problem that
because I like to watch things on my telly. Like I just don't watch shows on my PC at all. It doesn't connect to the TV very well.
I download these now and just stick them on a flash drive and then put them in my console and watch them. But on that note, the really superb Kamen Rider Amazons has come over to the West now and is now available on Amazon Prime Video in the US, and it is coming to the UK version soon. And Kamen Rider Amazons was just fantastic. But I'm just hoping that more of them sort of come over here, because they're great. And the point where they are, and you know, you don't have to go to fan subs and get that sort of stuff. It will be massive. It will be absolutely huge. But it's just they've not figured out that making this available to people and letting them throw a bit of money back the other way is a big thing. Because with Ultraman being on Crunchyroll, each year has been more successful than the last. And when you see the new series and you see the money that's gone into it, all of that's come from the fact that it's now available outside Japan as well, and you know, the cash has gone flowing back to the production company. So,
like, give me a way to legally watch it, and I'll watch it. But like, there's just not like a way I can do it on my PS4.
Well, this I mean, I got into Ultraman with Ultraman X because it came on Crunchy, and I watched that the first episode. And just thinking it'd be a bit of a piss take, and it'd be trashy, and it'd be a bit of a laugh, and I loved it. And what that then did was, you know, not only did the success of that, like I say, put money into Ultraman Orb that followed it, and then Ultraman Geed. But they started bringing all of the other series and sticking them on Crunchyroll. So everything from the 1950s onwards just turned up. Which was great, because you could go like, oh right, I can watch the first few episodes of the original. Now I'm watching Ultraman 80. Now I'm watching Ultraman Mebius, and it's great to have that available. And I'm hoping that they figure it out with Kamen Rider 100%.
Like a history library.
I don't know how it would affect things with Super Sentai, because you've got Power Rangers in the West, but
oh shit, yeah, the licenses would be fucked, wouldn't they?
Well, there's I don't know, because obviously Power Rangers takes the action sequences from Super Sentai and then builds something else around it, and entirely different. So I don't know. We shall see. Tell me about a thing.
All right. I'm going to tell you about a game that I don't think I've actually talked about on the show, but it was probably one of the biggest things I've played all year, which is ridiculous, really. I'm not going to beat about the bush. Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, talk to me about this. This has been on the cusp of being talked about for a long time, which makes me realise
it's like
that
nearly done, and then it's like, oh, finished it 2 months ago. Shit.
Did you spring for the Royal Edition?
No. I had this. We bought it at launch. Laura played it then because it was for her, really. She played the shit out of it. We're talking like 150 hours, like something stupid, like a lot of hours. I think she did every single hunt in the game. There's like bonus hunts you can do. She spent hours, and I mean hours, flobbling around the map just doing stuff.
Did she love the boys?
Of course, she loved the boys.
I don't know. Some people somewhere might not love the boys. I was expecting not to love the boys. It's like, pfft.
Even the least good boy, is still a good boy.
Who's the least good boy?
Prompto.
What?
Or Noctis. The pecking order in our house.
Okay.
In our house, the pecking order is Ignis best boy, then it's Gladio, because he's always reading that book, and it's always the same page. We don't think he can read.
Dare you?
It's always the same page. It's the same page every time. He just pulls this book out and looks at it for a bit and puts it away.
Such a bitch.
And then it's usually a toss-up between Noctis, then Prompto. I think I like Noctis a little better. I didn't expect to, because I thought he was going to be a whiny boy. But no, he actually made me laugh a few times. Whereas Prompto is like the classic standard joke character, and I never usually get on with the classic joke character. Like, you know, the spunky, cheerful one, your Selfies, your Yuffies, your Rikus, for instance. I never like them.
But apparently
they wind me up.
His like DLC is exceptional, and
it's really good.
A real spin on the character that makes.
I'll tell you about that later.
I'll
tell you about that later. Not there yet. Oh, let me tell you some stories. So, like, Laura played it all the way through, and then put it down. And she says, oh yeah, the DLC's coming out soon. And we sort of downloaded them as they were coming out, but she never kind of, I'll do it later. And then I think it was just before Christmas. It must have been, because I think I had 15 on my top 10. I'm sure I did. I decided, no, fuck it, I'm gonna. It's been enough time now. It's been about a year. You know, Laura was playing The Witcher 3 after, you know, I'd played it a year before. I was like, right, I'm going to play Final Fantasy 15 then. Like, it seems like something I would enjoy. You know, Dragon's Dogma-ish, open world-ish, boy adventure. Like, yeah, I'm down for that. It's pretty fun. Down for that. And just fucking fell in love. Like, almost immediately. And I know I'd watched Laura play pretty much all of it. Like, I was in the room whenever she was doing it. I never kind of go and do other stuff. Like, if she's on the telly, I would just be there reading or fucking about painting a model or, you know, something in the front room anyway. So I kind of knew what was happening. I kind of recognised a lot of the story beats. But I don't think I saw her play the last, I think, 5 story missions, which is like, it sounds like a lot, but it's probably 5-6 hours worth of content. Because the way the game works, it kind of like opens up and it gets really, really, really wide really quickly. So you start and like, oh, here's the world, and then here's another bit of the world, and here's another area, and like here's an entire world. Go nuts! And you can then spend as long as you want, like just diving around, picking up side quests, you know, fighting stuff in the world, leveling up, exploring, you know, doing side stuff, and it's fun. You can do what you want. And when you decide to push the story forward, then it kind of, you hit a certain point. I think just over halfway through the kind of the chapter. I think it's chapter 8. I think it is. You do this, and the world kind of narrows down. So it kind of puts you on like, okay, enough fucking about. Let's solve the problem now.
How much fucking about did you do? Because I would fight anything and everything, and my Noctis was not the sort of person to sit in a car regally when he could pull the car over and go and punch some sort of giraffe horse in the face for 5 minutes.
Yeah, same. I beat up a lot of wildlife. A lot of wildlife. I think I used the chocobos a couple of times, but if I'm on that, I'm not going to fight wildlife.
My favourite thing about the chocobos is when that chef bloke threatens one, which I know riled you when I first said it, but when he goes he says something like, "We'll meet again," and it's like,
yeah.
Fucking, yeah. Do you like gravy? You will do. He doesn't
No,
say that.
it's his
He might
friend.
As well.
How dare you? Do you know what the best part about
his
chocobos
friend.
is?
He's just looking at everything with cooking eyes. Or we'll meet again.
Recipe.
Oh, pluck you cunt.
Do you know what I like? Do you know what I like? That the dev team, or maybe even the translation team, have leaned so hard into Recipe. In Ignis's DLC, you can pick up a special move for him, which is literally says it's quick recipe, and it's like RECIPEH.
Yes, that appears.
Recipe. They've leaned super hard into it, and it works because it's probably my favourite line in the whole game. I've come up with a new recipe. Every time it happened, I'd laugh and clap. Yay! More soup.
I love that boy.
But do you know what the best part about chocobos is? You can fucking drift them.
I like the fact that you can colour them, because I managed to get a Man City blue one for mine, and I called it Magic Dave. Oh,
for goodness! I think I called mine Wilberforce.
Ooh,
I did. I called it Wilberforce. It was bright orange. Gladius had a green one. Prompto had a red one, and I think Ignis had a white one.
See, all the rest of my boys are just on bog standard chocobos, but I'm the show off mofo.
No, mate. No, I made sure I picked all the outfits correctly, and I know they give you different stats on your outfits. I didn't give two shits about that. I picked the ones that look cool. I downloaded the trendy outfit from minute one on the store, which is it's an outfit for Noctis, which is basically just some nice jeans, some nice shoes, some good trainers, a pretty basic t-shirt, and quite a thin jacket with a behemoth on the back.
Yeah, it's a good jacket.
It's cool as shit, and I wore that thing for the entire game. Because why would I wear anything else? And I almost used the mariachi outfit because that was just be funny.
Have you not got the Chocobo Festival t-shirt? That's a good one.
I've got that as well. Yeah, the first couple of pictures in my photo album do have the Chocobo shirt on, and then I also did the Assassins Festival free DLC thing that happened, which luckily I was on the end of. I didn't do the Chocobo Festival, but it gave me the stuff because it was on the same account.
Did you see the other side of that when the Final Fantasy 15 stuff hit Assassin's Creed Origins?
Don't you get Chocobo stuff for your camel?
There's that, and some of the carvings on the side of one of the pyramids or walls and stuff, or hieroglyphics, all relate to Noctis's quest. Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
That's kind of neat.
I think 15 did it better though. You take over an entire portion of the world, an entire city. I just covers it in assassin stuff. It's cool.
But the way that it was subtly woven into to Origins was fun. I like.
Yeah, it was a nice crossover. The one I don't think anyone was expecting either.
No.
Who's doing what crossover now? So I did that. That was quite fun.
What?
Yeah, I think when I finally gave up and moved on to actually kind of progressing the quest, because I would do as much as I could. I think I spent 30 hours in Chapter 3, easily, if not more. I think I moved on to the end game at around hour number 65, I think. Because I was keeping track of how long, because I was looking every time I started load the game. I was like, I've played this for this many hours now. I'm sure I was around 65 hours when I moved on to the finish, the point at which the game starts narrowing down, and it really does shoot along because you spend so long in each chapter before that. Chapter 6 or 7, I think I probably spent close to 15 hours just divvying about. Go to Lestalem and do something. Cool, I will get right to that in 3 weeks.
You need to find a certain kind of fruit. Oh, there's a man that needs a thing because his car's not working. Yeah, all right then.
Do you need some frogs? I'm your man.
Yeah.
I swear, I spent so fucking long. And I kind of hit that point where I couldn't find any more hunts, and I was running out of side quests, and everything was pointing me to like places that didn't exist on the map.
It was fun to discover places that weren't on the map, and then to go in and just be hopelessly underleveled, but then to go and twat around the rest of the map, purposely not moving the story along, and then to go back wonderfully overleveled.
Yep.
And then just like, because the point where I did move the story along was the point where I was just carving through stuff that I never would have done if I'd have just, followed things on and just gone sort of straight ahead to the story. And there was something of a power fantasy about that. I quite liked it. There was something quite cinematic of just going like, do you know who I am? I'm here with my mates as well.
It's me. I've got these boys. I'm Prince. Get out of my way. Like I had that. Like the first time I went out at night, I got my shit utterly rocked. Like to the point I was like, right, never doing that again. And like you're driving around and Prompto's like, should we pull over for the night? And every time I was like, yes, please.
Do you know one of the reasons why I fought so much in this game as well without moving the story on is because every time that I fancied it and you got that come up and it'd be like bum 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 bum, and that amazing piece of music kicks in, which is utterly brilliant. But it can go from stuff like that to just like please stop. And thank God you could get the soundtracks from the other Final Fantasies, because I played the soundtrack to Final Fantasy 12 a lot.
That was one of my go-tos. Like I kind of flip between 9, 10 and 12 quite a bit, because there's good stuff and all those. 13.2 had a pretty good soundtrack as well. Like there's some good stuff in there. Well, the only issue I had with that was because the actual stuff in the game's quite good as well. Like I really enjoyed the sort of the incidental music as you walk around, like the sort of the twangy like when you turn up at like the bars and stuff. I really like that.
Oh, that was wank. It sounded like rhubarb.
I think you just made the game better.
Oh no.
I love that music. I did like as well when you're just wandering about and the kind of the, I suppose not the title theme, but like the sort of the na 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 na.
Yeah, like that's a good one. I like
God,
that.
That's good. Just to sort of wander about with that playing, like, and then the screen kind of goes dun 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 dun. But like I was like, no, keep playing the na 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 na. Yeah, like don't cut out to the cool fight music. I like the cool fight music.
There's a nice kind of piano-ish one that plays every now and again, which is really beautiful. But like I say, it bothered me when it turned to please just
Rhubarb and Noctis.
It just sounded like that on 33 instead of 45.
Fucking hell. So yeah, I played very much. I loved the photographs that Prompto would take. I took every opportunity to make that better. I equipped him with the item that would let him take more photographs.
As
deal with
you were
HP increases. Oh no! It's the camera strap. That's what we gave him.
As you were sent on missions by the fat bloke from Lost.
Yes,
that was weird.
Yeah, and some guy from New York called Dino.
I don't remember him.
He's the guy with the jewels. He sat at the dock like, "Hey, it's Dino.
Oh, of course.
You gotta get to me a jewel.
Hey, you want to get on a boat? You gotta do me a favour.
Bada bing, bada boom. Sapphires.
It's a perfect pizza. It's a spicy meatball. It's me, Mario.
Come get your bagels. Fucking hell. Dino, I like Dino as well. Like, he was a fun character. I did like him. I think a lot of the supporting cast were quite fun as well. Like, I don't know if there's anybody I hated. Even Taka, the guy that runs the initial kind of bar, like, he's fun. And he talks about beans a hell of a lot. That was fun.
Didn't you super level by saving up like all your money and then sleeping at some sort of fancy swanky hotel. The one that's off the waterfront.
Yeah, it's really difficult because like the choice you make is save up shitloads of money, and at the start of the game, that is not an insignificant amount of money to be spending to stay at a hotel and get potentially 1.5 or 2 times your XP level. I think there's a hotel that does 3 times later in the game. So you can save your XP and then just bang through your levels. Like I think I went up. I think it was 4 nights out and about, like just running around. Like my characters were disgusting. They were covered in dirt. They were complaining the entire time. It's like, no, we are doing a Trump. We're going to do a lot of hunts, and we're going to go in, and we're going to go up like 7 levels. And we went up like 10. It was a joke, like just how good it was. And that was always fun. But then if you do that, you don't get the option of trying out any recipes and seeing all that delicious like M&S advert food.
What's that recipe?
You've got like Albatross playing in the background, and as this delicious looking kind of giant meat sandwich appears. And I was like, oh, Final Fantasy, you make me hungry. It's really difficult to play when you're hungry.
Oh God, this is another thing, right? When Chef Boy is just like, I've come up with a new recipe.
His name is Ignis.
It's like, you've not come up with a new recipe. That's chips with a blob of ketchup with a bit of lime on the side.
Special
or like
chips.
when you go to the place with the chocobos and the guy's just like, you should see our food, and it's just like, it's green crisps. It's green crisps and smoothies. I wouldn't say I'm a very food-focused person, but I need to be more impressed than this.
Okay, but for him to construct that meal on a portable like gas barbecue that they're carrying around in the car,
What a load of horseshit.
it's pretty good.
Chips and ketchup, and what does he call it? Something like blobbo pommes frites or something bizarre.
Chips and ketchup though, but on a grill. That's our work.
He calls it something like really hilarious, and I can't think what it is.
It is something stupid. But I like to try all the foods out just to see them appear. Like there's one that jiggles when he brings it out. I think one of the sandwiches or something, like a jelly thing. You come out and it just kind of wobbles as he puts it down, and it's like, okay, please, I would like to have this in my gob now. I like the fact the boys just sit around just talking shit while you're kind of doing the level up stuff and sitting at the campsite, and Prompto's trying to take cool pictures and ends up falling on his ass. Like, that was always funny.
They play that mobile game, which looks rubbish.
It does look rubbish, and the fact that they're all stuck on it. And the fact they make bad jokes about it all the time. Like, hey, we should play some King's Night. Yeah, and I'm a legendary. If anyone's a rare, it's me. It's like, guys.
Stop it. You're ruining it.
I think any time you beat a quest as well, like any side quest, it's like, right, you beat the quest, here's your XP, now time for each boy to make a pun, one after the other. Each progressively worse as they go on. And it was quite endearing by the end, like it was like, time for shit puns, and out would come the shit puns. I was a big fan.
How quickly
but I think we helped turn on the lights in Lestalem. There's like a power generator, and as you walk out, one of them's like, wow, we really lighted up that situation. And it was like, oh, fuck off, guys. Come on. It's not even funny. I think Ignis made a joke about illuminating, and it's like, no. But I loved them for it. I love the photographs, like I already said. Like, every single day was like, right, straight to the pictures, save the good ones. I think I had 178 saved at the end. I was close to topping out my pictures because there were just too many good stuff. Prime candidate for the good stuff is because of the pack that came out with the Royal Edition, which I think you had to buy for like 11 quid, but if you already own the game, and I did that because, like, of course I'm going to get money's worth out of that. Gives you a whole new area at the end of the game, so rather than just pushing through to the finish, you've got a whole open area to explore with extra bosses in it. And, right, when you get to Altisha, right, which is the cool regal looking city, right, gives you a fucking boat.
Yes, I understand this.
A powerboat. And the first thing, we get on the powerboat. It's time to go for a walk. So we get on, and it kind of cuts to, like, Noctis stood on deck, and you got Ignis stood at the front, you know, looking out to sea, and Prompto's taking pictures. And you turn around, and Gladio's doing pull-ups on the back of the boat. Just constantly doing pull-ups. And I stood there and watched him for about 3 minutes, and he wouldn't stop. It's like, fair enough, you're hard, okay. And you can just go drive around in the sea. The entire sea. It's not just like, oh, here's a boat, you can just do a bit of pond fishing. No, here's the whole sea, go.
What do you make about them continually adding to the game, and not just the DLC, but sort of all the. I mean, they identified an issue with Chapter 13 quite early.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why I initially stopped playing, actually, because I was thinking, I don't really want to get to that now if they're going to fix it. But they
made an alternate version. Yeah,
they
quite like Chapter 13. I don't understand it, because I got through it. I quite enjoyed it.
Because they kept adding stuff and they're still seemingly adding stuff.
There's more. There's a whole roadmap coming. There's episodes for, I think, what's her name? The Dragoon lady.
Lupinranger?
Aranea, Aranea,
right.
Highwind, the lady, the Dragoon that turns out to kick your ass and then becomes your friend. She's getting an episode. I think Luna Freya's getting an episode. And someone else as well, who I've forgotten. Ardyn is getting an episode. The clearly evil guy who's not evil at all. Suspicious man in coat who's obviously evil.
Because Skill did a video on Final Fantasy 15, and he was saying that to get the most out of it, you've got to watch Kingsglaive, the anime, do all the DLCs, and play the game. And he said he ended up summing it up saying like it's the best worst game that I've ever played, because he was saying that there are so many things that don't come off or aren't great, but I really enjoyed it as a whole. And it's a really good review, really honest and really brilliant. And he was showing there's a big fight sequence towards the end with an amazing piece of music, with Noctis fighting something that's just colossal. And he was saying like most of this fight sequence is just you pressing circle. And he said I looked into the comments underneath the video when he was looking at it, and somebody was going like, yeah, but isn't it absolutely spectacular? And he was like, yeah, that's exactly kind of the dichotomy that he felt between the game. Yeah, there's stuff that it could have done better, but within that whole, having watched everything and experienced everything, he really enjoyed the journey.
I can see that. Like, I can see there are problems with it, obviously. Like, there were definitely issues. Like, there's, I think, too many systems going on. I think by the time you start unlocking... you can use... Some of the DLCs added the ability to use the other lads in combat. Because you can use them in the DLCs, they've kind of added them into the game. And, like, to do that, the switching out is a little bit iffy. And, like, the sort of the skill tree is a little bit... it's okay. But, like, it's obvious when you hit that point, it's like, right... This skill costs 10. This skill costs 50. This next one costs 333. It's like, maybe we'll do that later then. Like, it's very obvious when you hit that point where you should probably stop and go do some more like grinding before you come back again. But like as a whole, like I mean, I think we watched the anime. We didn't watch Kingsglaive in the end. We just never got around to it. Like, it was always like, we'll watch it tonight. Like, I can't be bothered. Like, it's going to be a lot of like fantasy garble going on because these games tend to go a bit fantasy garble sort of near the ends, don't they? Like, near sort of the front and the back, like, you tend to get lots of talk about... and I'm not going to bag on Final Fantasy 13 here, because I know you like it, but all that stuff at the start, when they start talking about L'Cie and Fal'Cie, and I'm watching Nora play it, I'm going, what the fuck is this on about?
You don't understand.
I don't understand. And I freely admit I don't understand, but I was watching it as she was playing it, and I'm like, what? The whole time, I didn't get it. Like, it was too much. It was front-loaded. Dune, the book Dune, has the same problem. It front-loads all this stuff at the front, and you're reading it like, what? I had to read the first chapter of that book like 4 times because I didn't get it. Like, what's a Kwisatz Haderach when it's at home? Like, what the fuck? Dune's a weird.
I'm impressed that you can say it.
Thanks. I read it enough. Like, it's burned in my brain. But yeah, the DLCs are all fantastic. Like, legit brilliant. Like, even, I would say, in order of goodness, Ignis is the best one. Prompto is very close behind, and then Gladios is probably third. Gladios is quite simple. It's a test of, like, combat skill to challenge Gilgamesh. Yeah, this is the Gilgamesh of the game. For a cool sword. Like, and you have to prove to him that you're, worthy to serve your king, and core. There's, like, it's got a lot of core stuff in it as well. and Core's rad as shit. You do a lot of chatting and talking as well with Core, so you learn about his stuff. And it was fine, you know. Gladio's combat was fine, a bit slow. It's like, without wanting to invoke, it's like super heavy, ultra greatsword Dark Souls play. Like, it's not nippy, it's more measured. You have to kind of time your strikes. But Gladio can pick up giant fucking columns and hurl them at people. So there is that. I'm kind of upset I didn't make it into the main game. I think I did Ignis's next, actually. Because I did them in the order. What I did is, as I was playing, when the character leaves the party and comes back, like, that's when you should play their DLC, because that's when it happens.
What, when they come back? That's
when you get back. So Gladio kind of sods off for a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he comes back like, hey, look at my cool new scar. And then you get to go find out how he got the scar in the DLC.
I got you.
Yeah, and there's a bit, I think Ignis is the next one to leave when he comes back after the big spectacular fight with the water and the big snake. Like, you know, have you played past that bit?
I like I say, I took a step back when I knew they were going to alter Chapter 13, and I left it a long time until the Xbox One X upgrade kicked in. Okay. And at this point, you started playing it, and I was like, well, if Pad's playing it, I'm going to kind of I'm going to go back to it and sort of refamiliarize myself and stuff. So I started playing again, and then the Royal Edition ended up cropping up for like 20 quid. So I picked that up and then, you know, traded the original. So it ended up being like the set, because I hadn't got the DLC at that point either. So
it's a no-brainer then, isn't it? Yeah,
cheap way of getting everything, because the $11.99 one didn't include the DLC. It was just like the extra pack, and then you
the royal
still
stuff,
have to buy the season pass on top. So yeah, that was a decent price. But
decent.
So I still haven't finished it. But it sure as hell looks pretty on the X. Jesus Christ,
it's a gorgeous game. And so I think then I did Ignis's, which was just fucking good. Very, very, very good. The combat was, I think, the best of the three. Really enjoyed the fighting, really enjoyed the plot, like had a really, really good final boss bit, like proper good. Explained a lot of what happens in the gap. And normally, I don't like to know the stories about what happened when someone fucks off and comes back later. Like, I don't like to know origin stories. Like, the perfect example, the Han Solo film that's coming out, it's like, oh, find out about how he won the Millennium Falcon off of Lando Calrissian. Who gives a fuck? That feels like one of those stories that should just be one that you imagine what you think it should have been, and that's what it should have been. Anything they come up with will not be as cool.
To just interject here, I just imagine the end of that film is going to be him getting the Kessel to run in however many parsecs, going too fast, not being able to stop, and crashing into something that causes the front of the Millennium Falcon to not be that kind of nose as it
fall
is
out.
To kind of crunch in, and then there'd be some glib thing about just build around it or whatever. That's what I think will happen.
Or maybe it's like an inhibitor to like make them go real speed. Like, we can do better than this. Let's take that part off and we can go faster. Like when you've got a Skeletrix and you take the top off the car and it goes a bit quicker.
Or something will smash into it and they'll start going faster.
Like a bus.
Like a bus.
Well, it's a big square gap at the front, isn't it? Maybe they hit something big and square, like a bus.
That's why I was thinking like they end up going too fast and they're unable to stop. Towards the end, they end up crashing into something. And
a bus.
That's the way they stop. Yeah, a bus.
A star
carry
bus.
I do think that a lot of praise has to go to Tabata-san for actually getting Final Fantasy 15 out of the door in the first place, but also, you know, the commitment to continually listening to people and adding to people. Because let's face it, like there was Final Fantasy Versus 13 and the third one of that
Agito.
No, the third one of the what's it called? Kingdom Hearts, and we're still not seeing Kingdom Hearts. The director went on to Final Fantasy VII Remake when he was taken off of Final Fantasy 15, or Versus 13 as it was then, and we're still not seeing that. So all credit to Tabata-san.
Yeah,
because Tabata-san Tabata-san actually did a Gito, you know.
Did he?
Yeah, he that's him, or whatever it's called in the West. I can't think. I've got it.
Well, I'd like to say about one more thing before we move on. I'd like to tell you about the incident.
Okay.
I had an incident with this game near the end, and it nearly broke my spirit completely.
What,
so
as in put a controller down?
I almost couldn't. I almost had to walk away from it.
Because of sadness or frustration?
Well, so it's no secret that when you start the game, you're obviously a bit older, you've got a beard. Right? So there's a point in the game where it skips forward a bit. A few years, whatever, enough to grow a beard and look, you know, a bit more grown up and a bit more of a man. And it's cool, you know, that did that. So I'm playing through the game. This is quite near the end, you know, and I'm kind of chapter sort of 14-ish, I think, at this point. Like, I'm getting near the very end. And I do this time jump thing, and it drops me back into the world. And you sort of appear at Golden Key, and nobody's about, and there's monsters everywhere. You're like, fuck, I better go find the boys. Like, I'm on my own. I need to go find the boys. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to save up here for the night. Go to bed, because it's like midnight. Like, I'm done. Save up here. Go to bed. I'll carry on in the morning. So, yeah, I get up, I go to work, I come back home, and I boot my game up. And I load up my save, and stood on the quay, on the pier in Golden Key, is a young Noctis, who shouldn't be young Noctis at this point. He should be old and beardy. And the lads are stood there as well.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to be going to go find the lads. Like, that's my mission. I'm like, but they're here. Fuck? What? So I thought, maybe I'll reload an old save.
About this?
I'll reload an old save. So I reloaded an old save. Every single one I reloaded was young Noctis stood on the beach. There was nothing sooner than that. So I panicked a bit and sort of progressed a little bit and thought, well, maybe if I kind of push on a couple of bits, you know, it'll do a cutscene or so and it'll reset itself. Like, it'll work out what it's doing. So I push on and I go and set a campfire and, you know, try and, you know, save, you know, quote unquote save there. And the boys are all sitting there having a laugh in the background and they're still there when we come back up. And I go up and I meet a character, you know, 10 years in the future, like, oh, look, you grew up. And the boys are just stood around in the middle of the road while I'm having this big cutscene. And we drive on and then we meet the boys that I'm supposed to meet and the other boys are stood in the background. At which point I was, like, angry, like, please don't let my game be fucked. This can't be how I finish. Like, not like this. So Laura then said, well, why don't you use my save? Like, I've got chapter select. Like, you can chapter select back and use my save and finish the game like that. I was like, well, okay, that sounds fun. So I booted up Laura's game. And it was fine. You know, it's chapter 13. You know, all the weapons were wrong. But, you know, I loaded it up and I set my guy up how I wanted it. And then sort of, after half an hour of playing, thought, no, like, this isn't my save. Like, I could finish it with Laura's save, but it's not going to be my boys that I finish with.
Yeah.
Because I spent so much time investing in different abilities for them and weapons that I liked. And, you know, like, just generally getting things set up the way I wanted them to be. And it wasn't my save anymore. It wasn't my world. I was like, I think I did half an hour, maybe an hour tops. I was like, no, I can't do this. Fucked may it be. I'm going to progress with my own save and see what I can save. Or salvage out of it. So I went back and I carried on from my busted-ass save. And pushed on through. And I went through the next, I would say, 4 hours was the next bit of chapter. Going through the new sort of Insomnia City ruins that was added in the Royal Edition, which is really good. Like, proper fun to explore. You know, you've got, like, subways to hide in, and there's, like, resistance guys hiding around. There's, like, side missions around as well. If you've done the Comrades stuff, which is the multiplayer stuff, which I haven't, there's a mission involving your created character from that.
Oh, cool.
Which is sweet as fuck. But it didn't have that, so it was just like, defaultman, here to help. Hello, it's me, default man. But I twigged pretty quickly what that was about. So I spent a few hours, and again, this is with young Noctis, and the boys are all young as well, and it's like, no one's the right age, but it's working, they're still talking, everything's happening, they're wearing the right outfits. So we push through, and we approach the final kind of, like, tower building, you know, the Insomnia City Royal Tower, whatever it is.
Okay.
And we move on in, and we start doing the boss fights to get through, and it's like, you know, not quite a boss rush, but, you know, there's bits, and everyone gets their own chance to shine, you know, because obviously with the Royal Edition, you get to control the other boys at certain points during the bit, you know, it kind of says, right, this is Gladio's one, this is Ignis's one, and you get to control them.
Okay.
Which is fucking cool. Like, like you're flipping in and out, and you see Noctis run around in the background, and everyone's getting their own minute to be rad. It's like, yeah, this is
cool.
great.
Like
it's really good. And we get near the top, and we meet the big bad, and the big bad does his big bad monologue, and it's like, cool, time to fight me now. I'll be outside when you're ready. Time to have a fight. It's like, right, cool. And the game cuts back to me in control, stood in the throne room, and then it skips. And my character is stood in a subway station with the top blocked up by rubble, and he's old Noctis again. So he's the right Noctis now, but he's now trapped in a small subway station about the size of a front room. And I'm like, what? Can I leave? And I tried to leave, and the rubble's stopping me. The only thing there was the save point. I was like, fuck. Reload the save, I guess? I reload the save. It puts me back at the outside, so I do the thing again. I talk to my boys, I do the big sort of emotional, like, right, this is my time, lads, I'll see you later. I go in again, he does the monologue again, it does it again. And again, I have no save that's anywhere better than this. And I'm like, is my game fucked at the final boss? This is probably 11 o'clock. I'm like, no, not like this. And I was like, you still got my save. I went, I'm not doing all of that again. Like, that was a lot of work, and I enjoyed it, but I'm not doing it again. And, like, I was panicking, like, flat panicking at this point. Wasn't sure what to do. Like, is my game completely fucked? Am I going to have to just watch the end on YouTube? Like, that's no good. That's no fun. So I kind of did a desperation move. I kind of went through it again and, did the whole, it's the big time to fight me now. And the game twitched out and ended me back in the thing. And I decided to try, because you can use Umbra, the post dog, to kind of choose to go back in time and run around the world map if you want before you do the final boss. And that option was there. I thought, well, it can't hurt, can it? Like, let's give it a go. So I use it, and we flip back, and the characters are young, like they should be. Which, like, oh, this is promising, They're all in the right outfits, that's good. I ran around for about 10 minutes, just diddled about, killed a couple of things, saved a couple of times just to make sure, and then went back to, like, where I left off, and it put me back in the same subway station as old Noctis, but most importantly, the rubble had gone.
Oh, thank God.
It was outside the main tower, and I was like, well, if I can't get back in the tower, this is a waste of time. Because I thought, is this like story mission where you kind of go in and things lock off? Thank fuck, I was able to literally walk the entire way back to the tower, go all the way up, get in the lift again, because I was panicking. Laura, no, there was a button for it, remember? I went, oh, there was a button, wasn't there? And ran around behind me like, there's the button, it's working, the doors have opened, holy shit. We go up, we do the final goodbye scene to the lads again, and everyone's the right age, and I walk through the door, and I got to play the end of the game.
Cool, and was it a good ending?
It was fucking brilliant. It was really good, and it took me an hour of misery to get there. And I think by the end of it, I was so emotionally exhausted, I had to just go to sleep. I was done. I couldn't do any more. I was spent. It had been such a roller coaster night. Like, my emotions have been toyed with and smashed and crushed underfoot. I don't know what caused it. It just suddenly stopped working. So I finished it. It was great, and it's like, oh, cool. Well, you've finished it now. But now you can go back in time and run around the open map, and there's more stuff to do now. And there's lots more stuff to do. The trailer shot of the giant adamantoise mountain that just stands up like, time to die now. Had a quick go at that. Big mistake. Not strong enough yet. Very, very not strong enough. I kind of did a couple of missions, and I thought, do you know what? I don't want to.
You can set it down happily at this point.
My game is over. I think that final hour was enough of a moment. Enough, as I've written on my notes here in capital letters, the incident. Like, enough of a finish that I don't need to play anymore. Like, I'm happy to stop there. I had this, with like Nier and the other games like that. Like, get to the end, and it's like, well, I think I'm done. Like, I don't need to do all the new game, all the kind of open world, post-game content. Like, there's some stuff there, like, and it's interesting stuff, but I don't feel like I need to do it. I feel like I'm finished. So my advice to you, if you're playing Final Fantasy 15, I had to think then, and you're at a point where you suddenly wake up in the future and you're a bit older, don't save it and go do something else. Progress a little bit first. Because it may happen to you too. And I was inconsolable at one point. I thought my game was fucked. And after, like, at this point, 75 hours of gameplay, to have it break on the final boss, come on. Come on, video game. Don't fuck with me like that.
What I will say about the Royal Edition as well is it's quite cheeky, because when you open it up, it's a code for the Royal Edition and the DLC.
Is
with
it?
Just a regular Final Fantasy disc in there.
Cheeky fuckers.
And it also has the worst piece of artwork that I've seen on a video game for a long time.
Oh, it is shit, innit? The XV with the double face thing.
Do you know what the upswing of this is?
Go for it.
Like, I opened it up and I was like, I've got it in front of me now. I opened it up and I went, and then I looked in and I was like, oh, there's a code, and hold on, what's that behind? And you just look and it's a reversible cover, and there's the Yoshitaka Amano like artwork that you can turn around and sort of have for the cover, which is gorgeous. But that half beardy, half not, half young, half old Noctis artwork is just garbage.
Oh, it's shite. Who thought that was a good idea? That's like someone's deviant art from when they were 15.
But yeah, the Amano artwork that's on the other side is really nice.
It's really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, man. Final Fantasy 15. Like, well recommended. Well recommended. Love it, man. Love it. And I gave you shit for talking about Kamen Rider for 40 minutes, and look what I've just done.
There we go. Hey.
Fuck. We're supposed to get 3 things in each this episode.
No, it's a good. I've got 2 sort of quite dinky ones. Well, potentially, but we set our stall out.
We'll see how we go, shall we?
Yeah. So for next one, I've got this year's Super Sentai, which is Lupinranger Vs Patoranger. It's essentially cops v robbers. 2 teams this year, all chasing down pieces of a lost collection of Arsène Lupin, the master thief of legend, which are in the possession of the evil Gangler mob. The tone is very Silver Age DC Comics, coming off as a cross between 60s Batman and Persona 5. Loads of big, goofy ideas. The cast across the board are having great fun, and I'm just having a fantastic time with it. The standout is absolutely the direction. It's phenomenal, as the suit actors, stunt coordinators and director are all part of this kind of incredible dance. On the one hand, there's this confidence to be able to frame a scene, have the actors appear and disappear within it, these ambitious running tracking shots, and the gobsmacking fight sequence, which almost feel rotoscoped. I mean, like, my mate Pete and I constantly break into kind of, how the fuck are they even doing that? And my God, the athleticism of the suit actors. The weak link is definitely CG when it kicks in for the vehicle sequences, especially given there's some amazing practical work cut into some of these moments, and I just wish they'd focused on that side of things completely. Older Tokusatsu's effects work always comes across as really special, and it's a real shame that aspect is the only nitpick here.
The trailer bits that you sent me, like, that always did seem to be the weakest part. It just looks like plastic.
Yeah, well, there's some great stuff with the vehicles in the initial trailer, which are, you know, literally like remote control cars going down like streets and stuff, which are fantastic. I love all of those, and when they cut to you know, sort of the giant robot, and it is just a bloke in a suit. It's fantastic, but you get transformation sequences which are, you know, not particularly brilliant CG, and you know, it cheapens it a bit, and it will make it look sort of a little bit older as it goes along. As opposed to, like, you know, Ultraman Guide had. Ultraman in general just builds like huge sets and does as much as it can practically, and then tips in some really good CG along with it. So it's just a shame that Super Sentai is the weakest of the lot when it comes to that sort of stuff. But like I say, it is only a nitpick. As the Lupin Rangers sort of seek to find the people responsible for the disappearance of their loved ones, and the Pat Rangers press on to try and stop both the Ganglers and the Lupin Rangers at the same time. The interactions between the two teams is hilarious, and like I say, those action sequences are amazing. I mean, I'm really happy with the shows that are airing at the moment. With Build, as I mentioned earlier, Lupinranger vs Patoranger, Ultraman Guide was my favourite series of last year, and as of this morning, they announced we're only a matter of months away from what's just been revealed as Ultraman RB, which is the first time two people have ever been the lead. In this case, brothers, as Ultraman Rosso and Ultraman Blue.
Okay.
I'm still waiting to see Kamen Rider the Final, which was #1 in Japanese cinemas at Christmas and reunites Kamen Riders Oz and Ankh, Kamen Rider Xaid, Kamen Rider Gaim, my beautiful best boy in the whole wide world ever, Kamen Rider Forze, and puts them alongside Kamen Rider Build. I need that very much indeed. So yeah, just happy tokusatsu joy, but Lupinranger vs Patoranger is just superb. Again, like proper mad ideas in there, which I love.
I have a question. Who do you like better, the cops or the robbers?
Well, it's
you have to pick. No, don't.
No, I've got
Switzerland this.
No, I'm not going to Switzerland it because the answer is the Lupinranger race. But the way that they're doing it is they will have one episode focused on the Lupinrangers, one episode focused on the Patorangers, and they keep varying that. Even the theme song is a duet, and one of the vocals is Lupinranger, and one of the vocals is talking about the Patorangers. And when it's the Lupinranger episode, it's really big and jazzy, and the Patoranger one is a little more kind of 70s cop show version of it, but it's still got like the same vocals in there. They're really well done. But yeah, they're both really great, and the interactions between the teams are fantastic thus far. I'm really enjoying it. Mental, but like I say, that the direction is the strongest aspect of it. It's jaw-dropping. Very, very impressed.
Yeah. See, I still haven't watched it. I know you sent me the first episode because I tried to download it on my phone, and it managed to lock our Twin Humanities account for a bit. It's like, never mind.
You see, I just thought like you were just putting things off, and you just really sort of weren't that arsed.
No, I do want to watch it. It's just every time I try and like put it on my phone, it's like locked out. It's just proving difficult.
It is very, very silly and very deep.
It seems like the sort of thing I'd sit and watch on my phone in the bath. Like, that's where I've been watching a lot of like anime stuff and stuff like that Laura doesn't necessarily want to watch because I can put on. They've all got subtitles, so it doesn't matter that the bath's going, running in the background. I can still hear what's going on. I can hear the intonation of the voices without necessarily hearing the words. But I've got the subtitles, so it's fine. I
mean, probably one of the things that makes me like the Lupinrangers the most is that they've got their secret identities where they all work in a French cafe, which they run. But they will also get dressed into suede suits with masks on before turning into the Lupinrangers.
I saw this. Wait a secret identity, bro.
It's great. I mean, why just have one transformation when you can get dressed into a beautiful suede fancy outfit and then transform into a superhero?
Must be hell on the suede.
It looks classy though, but it is great when you see like say Lupinranger Red in his sort of suede costume and beautiful shoes, like standing in a tree, looking down at somebody and just sort of trying to figure out what's there. But yeah, it's a good show. I'm having lots of fun with these. But again, it's not even vaguely trying to be realistic. It's just trying to have a good time, and give me that any day of the week. Put a smile on my face. I don't need to be depressed. Life's a bit like that.
I have a quick Kamen Rider question, actually. I know it's not. I know we're on Super Sentai right now. Do they ride lots of bikes?
Sorry, say again.
Do they ride lots of bikes? The whole rider part of it, yeah. Because One Punch Man. I know I'm going back to because we just finished watching that yesterday. There's a character in One Punch Man which took us a while to work out was a Kamen Rider bit. His name's Moomin Rider. And it turns out So I'm not going to tell. I'm going to tell you what it means first. Then I'm going to explain the guy because we had to look up what it meant, and it was very funny. So Moomin means no license. So he's no license rider. He's just a guy with a push bike, pedaling to crime, and at one point he throws his bike at a monster and screams about justice. It was really good, and he's one of the better kind of like extra characters in the series. And it took us a while to get the joke, but Laura said, I looked it up, it means no license. He's not allowed a motorbike. I just thought that was cute. I just thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, it will be. It 100% will be kind of a riff on that. There's there's been parodies before and stuff, and there's one that's coming out for I think it's like a video on demand one in Japan, which is essentially Super Sentai Mommers, and it's these 3 characters that have been in previous Super Sentai shows, and they're now mums, and they're balancing looking after a family and looking after children and being superheroes at the same time.
Okay,
so that's really good. And they're currently doing this second Space Squad movie, which will pit 2 Super Sentai teams against each other together, along with like the big intergalactic stuff like Space Sheriff Gavan and all that kind of stuff. So the first one was really good fun. But yeah, I love my tokusatsu.
You do, clearly.
And the lad from the lead lad from Ultraman Geed is in the adaptation. Is it something like the guy who did One Punch Man has got like another anime that's on Crunchyroll at the minute, and the live action version of that, the main lad from Ultraman Geed is going to be playing the lead character.
Oh, I have no idea.
I'll see if I can find it on my telephone.
Very quickly.
So, let me have a look.
The only reason I'm watching One Punch Man is because it's just turned up on UK Netflix the other day. And
It
was
did.
like, huh.
I think it's
Go
on
on,
Crunchy though, isn't it?
No. It's not on my Crunchy. I just use UK Crunchy and it's not on there.
Yeah, me too.
For sure. I've never seen it on there. Because I know I've looked for it a few times and it's never been there.
Mob Psycho 100. That's the other one. Yeah, the lead, like I say, the lead lad from Ultraman Geed's going to be playing the lead in the movie version.
Interesting.
What you got next, bro?
What have we got next? I'll get to it. I've been playing, based on a whim, I turned out I've got it from Plus a while ago, the first series of the Batman Telltale game.
Okay. What drew you towards it?
Well, it's because on... I don't know what it is. Something I followed on Twitter. I think one of the PlayStation accounts maybe were just tweeting constantly about the Telltale Season 2 sort of big Joker season they were doing. And how at the end it could be one of 2 different stories that plays out at the end depending on how you played it. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You can make 2 different Jokers. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And I thought, well, I do enjoy the Telltale format sometimes. Like, I can't play too many of them in a row. I think I kind of burned through both seasons of The Walking Dead quite quickly and had to have a bit of a break because the next one I played was just not as good. And I think I never finished the Game of Thrones one, even though I enjoyed it quite a bit. For various reasons, one of them being that, god damn it, Telltale, get an engine. You've got money, get an engine.
I think that's one of the reasons why people have kind of turned their back on Telltale quite a lot, because
it skips and flips around, and you get just odd polygons appear in the middle of scenes. You're like, guys,
but this is on this gen. I mean, on last gen it was breaking.
Yeah, it's still crap now. Like, there was a really, classic Batman game. Does the whole crime alley, oh no, Bruce's parents have been shot bit, because they always do. You have to show it, because how else would we know? But like, there's big emotional things happening, and there's this big black like polygon that's kind of clipped out funny and is cutting off all the smoke, and it was kind of cutting through one of the characters. It's like, great, this is broken, like, and it was one polygon, and then when the scene finished, it was gone. But it utterly ruined the moment, because like, I'm just looking at the polygon. I'm not looking at what's happening. I'm looking at the polygon, wondering if it will go away, and it's annoying me. Stupid, get an engine, guys. Come on, get a better engine. Get Unreal. Oh, imagine that. Telltale Unreal game. Oh.
I think they're they're in a lot of trouble, aren't they? And I think they're I don't know, their momentum's really been stolen by Life is Strange. You know, the momentum that they had from that original Walking Dead has now really been taken away by Life is Strange.
I would say Life is Strange has had a big part in that. I think the King's Quest game that came out on PS4 is a nice spin on that format as well. I really enjoyed that.
Like that, didn't you?
Yeah, and there's one that I'm really looking forward to called The Council that's just come out, which is like a very kind of like Victorian, steampunkish looking kind of game where you kind of just talk to people and you kind of can talk, and you get like, I think 3 opportunities to fail during the conversation. If you fuck the conversation up, they'll just leave you alone, and you can sort of level up different skills like lying or sort of falsehood detecting and, you know, diplomacy. Like, it seems like here's the format of episodic based game where you talk to a lot of people, but they've not just like, they don't seem like to have followed the Telltale format. They've gone and done their own thing.
Oh, it's very pretty, isn't it?
It's gorgeous looking. And I think Brad Galloway, the mighty Wilberforce from Game Critics, played the first episode, and I think he really liked it. Or whoever it was on
really
Game
like
Critics.
The art style.
Yeah, whoever it was on Game Critics that actually played it, I think it was Brad, put up a really good review of it, and I've been very, very tempted. So the format I don't think is dead, but I think Telltale just haven't evolved enough. I think the Batman games have shown them trying. Because the first season is still pretty good. Like, it's more standard Telltale. You know, you follow your character around, you choose some stuff, people remember stuff, people put that against you later. You know, it's standard Telltale, you know. Harvey Dent will remember that. Like, oh, fuck. Can I just say as well, Harvey Dent is a big character. He is kind of, you know, District Attorney Harvey Dent in this. He's not Two-Face. Every time he says anything about the word face, me and Laura both went, ooh, is it happening? Like, ooh, I think like he was at a debate and he's like, oh, I need to go and put my face on. Like, ooh. Or like his campaign poster is, a new face for Gotham. Like, ooh, it could be happening. Ooh, no, 4 episodes in, and 4 episodes in, it hasn't happened yet.
Those are shocking puns. I'm sorry.
They're terrible, but
I
every
hate that
time
stuff.
we're on the edge, like, oh, could this be it? But there's stuff going on there. It's been really sort of fun seeing it evolve. It's an interesting take on Batman because it tends to follow way more Bruce. And I think for the purposes of this, like, that makes sense because Bruce is the kind of person that goes around and talks to people, whereas Batman's hitting. You spend a lot of time talking to people like Harvey Dent, to Commissioner Gordon, to sort of police officers, to campaign managers. There's lots of Wayne stuff going on. It takes a different take on the Wayne history with sort of Thomas and Martha Wayne not being the exceptional paragons of virtue that everything else is painting them as, but as complete shitbags.
Okay.
Like corrupt kind of Falcone friend shitbags. Which is kind of different, and we were like, you know, expecting it, and then sort of Bruce was doing, no, I didn't know about this, like, I'm not my parents, what are you on about, like, why am I in trouble, like, I didn't do anything, like, yeah, you got your money from dirty sources, Bruce, boo! It plays really kind of fun, and there's kind of big plots going on underneath the small plots, and everything kind of folds into one, but I like the take on it, like, and there's a new Penguin, for instance, there's a Penguin, but he's young, and skinny, and British. And he's a bit of a geezer. He's a bit of a lad.
It's not Nolan North again, is it?
I don't think so, but it might be. But no, he's genuinely, like, interesting. And it kind of plays that him and Bruce were friends when they were younger, and, like, his family, like, you know, Thomas Wayne fucked the Cobblepots out of their land, and he had to go off and sort of study abroad and live outside because his parents were dead. And it's kind of a nice, different take on Penguin. He's not just some small fat guy anymore. He's like genuinely has different motives and is more of like an 80s sleaze bag near the end, actually. Like hey, I'm taking all your shit. This is mine. This is Newtown's Cobblepot time now. Wayne's are done. Cobblepot time. And this kind of leads into a good moment because I thought I'd play these games like I always play them. Like good guy, you know, talk my way through problems, calm things down, don't get too aggro people. And I think in the first episode, near the front, you're having a party at Wayne Manor and the Falcones turn up. It's like, all right, Carmine Falcone turns up. It's like, come on this way, we're going to have a chat. It's like, okay. So I go in. And I think at that point I decided, do you know what? because Alfred's being like, oh no, be nice, and Harvey Dent's going, be nice, don't be a dick. I'm like, no, fuck this guy, I'm going to be an absolute prick to him. And it's like, oh, hey, nice to see you, Bruce. And he holds his hand out. It's like, shake hand or don't shake hand. It's like, I'm not shaking your fucking hand. I thought, if there's any opportunity to punch him, I will take it. Like, absolutely will take it. And I just told him to fuck off with every single reply I did. And it was great, because he was getting more and more annoyed. And you've got Harvey Dent stood in the corner of the room getting like, oh, God, please be good. There's a bit later as well when you're arguing with the Penguin about something and you're chatting away and one of the options just comes up, punch him. I'm like, I'm pressing the punch him button right the fuck now.
And you did.
I smacked him, and it's like, and I think there's like a way in Industries exactly like, what are you doing, Bruce? You're ridiculous. He says, yeah, Bruce, it's your fault we're in this mess. And then the option punch him again comes up. Like, obviously, I'm going to press it again. And it was magnificent. And just like, he then turns up at the press conference a bit later with 2 black eyes. Like, yes, I did those. So like, my Bruce Wayne has gone a little bit off book, and I'm really enjoying it. I think later on there's a choice between, like, you know, paying off some military guys to let you through their barricade, or just say, Alfred, punch it. I'm like, Alfred, punch it, motherfucker. And it was glorious. It's not like what I expected, but it kind of feels like the right way to play at this point. Like, I kind of feel like my Bruce Wayne's a bit more of a shit kicker. And that's not to say the Batman stuff isn't good too, because there is some good Batman stuff. You've got your detective stuff where you're picking out clues and linking them together to try and work out what happened. You actually plan out some of your fight scenes, so you kind of say, right, what's around here? There's a light over there, and there's a statue, so I'm going to link the statue to that guy. So I'm going to run in, knock the statue over, then I'm going to throw that TV on that guy, I'm going to kick that guy over a table, and then you sort of lay your plan out and goes, right, ready to go. And you run in, and then you have to do the standard, quick time events to do the fight.
All right, okay.
Which is cool. I don't know if you can fuck them up, because I've been doing very, very, very well. I don't know if there's a way of really getting them wrong. With some Telltale games, if you fuck up the prompts, you'll get punched, or you'll get smacked, or you'll get knocked over. I don't think I've failed a single prompt yet. Like, they're all quite easy to hit. And I think I liked that, because as Batman, you want to be, like, really competent. Like, Batman wouldn't just get punched by a random mook. You know, when he's planned his attack, the mook wouldn't be able to get him. Like, Batman shouldn't fail. You can fuck up the conversation stuff quite a bit, and sometimes you can choose whether you want to go as Batman or Bruce Wayne, which is quite fun. And it gives you a whole different spin on the interrogation. Like, as Bruce, you're more sort of chatty, whereas Batman's threats and punching. It's like, oh, we could do this or do this. It's really, really cool. But it's quite hard to kind of fuck it up. But like I say, it's how it should be. Like, it feels like a proper Batman game without just resorting to, I am going to go and punch all the guys. Like, it delves into his more detective side and the more kind of layered plots and working out what's going on. Me and Laura have been having a great time. Like, we've been playing an episode every sort of few nights. Sort of like an episode of every week or something like that. We've got one left to do of the first season. And we'll be doing it in the next couple of days, because it was really, 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 really good. And I think we're going to get the second season based on how strong the first season was.
Cool.
Obviously, the Telltale engine still has its problems, and that's just something we're going to have to live with. But the actual game in there is really good. You know, it's still standard Telltale format. You know, walk around, talk to people remember stuff, but it's a nice new take on Batman, and it's one we weren't expecting. Like, we only tried it because it was free on Plus. Like, it was like, oh yeah, well, we'll take that. Brilliant. And I ended up being pleasantly surprised by it.
Cool.
So that was my second thing. Do you want to do a third thing?
The final thing.
Do you want to do a third thing? We got time, haven't we?
Yeah.
We do one episode every 3 months. This, divided up. This is an half an hour every week.
Yeah, it's only a quick one again, but I'm going to go gaming this time. I'm going to go with the Adventure Pals.
I saw I think you saw Holly play this, and it looked really good, and I've seen a couple of things. But tell me about the giraffe backpack.
Yeah, platform game about a young boy who's got a giraffe called Sparkles that lives in his backpack. The lad's armed with a little sword, and when you jump, you can hold the button down, and Sparkles will go blah, blah, blah. His tongue turns into a helicopter. The game is absurdly funny, sort of very Invader Zim, Jamie Smart's Bear kind of funny. For example, you're asked by a lad to help find his love, When you agree, he says, "Hold on, I'll just get my chicken," and he does, and he just flies above you throughout the level.
Okay.
You have to get rubies at the start to help rescue your granddad, and the boss battle that ensues afterwards involves fighting a creature called Tree Fist.
What?
It's just a giant tree, and you dodge his attacks, and then start hitting him in the underpants when his wooden trousers fall down. There's a joke about Instagram and selfies, which had me laughing so hard I had to put my controller down. # no filter. # I woke up this way. # blessed. You get this little mate called Mr. Rock, who is a smiling rock, and you can fit him with different hats and outfits, which affect his abilities. Generally, Mr. Rock only comes out when there's someone to fight. You eventually meet his dad.
Right.
The first world sort of built up in numerous levels is great fun, and you're given a rating based on how many cupcakes that you find, how many times you die, and if you discover the hidden sticker for your sticker book. But oftentimes, if I've got anything less than A+, I'll just go straight back into the level because they're just really good fun. World 2 really kicks things up a notch. The game becomes even more challenging. Music's not as good as the first level, but it's still sort of daft amounts of fun. I'm on kind of a little bit further on than that now, and it's getting like pretty hard and introducing like even more stuff into the mix. I've been spamming the heck out of it, out of like how good it is on Twitter, and those that have picked it up seem to be loving it. I think it deserves to sell millions and jillions, and I'm ringing the Skyforce bell. I wouldn't ring it otherwise, but the Skyforce bell.
It's that time of year.
It's just that good. It's just very addictive to play. Just the writing is spot on. It's beltingly funny, like laugh out loud funny, and that's because it is generally so absurd. So yeah, I don't.
What's it on?
It's on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, I think, as well.
Is it on Vita? That sounds like a good Vita game.
It would be a good Vita game. Although the thing about playing on Switch with the handheld is the writing is quite tiny.
Oh.
But it is just brilliantly funny. Also, it's couch co-op.
Really?
Yeah.
Who do you control? Different people?
You control a different boy with a different giraffe, I believe. But you also get stuff like with Sparkles, because he can do the like helicopter stuff.
Do that one more time.
And
That was way worse.
It does make that noise in the trailer. If you watch the trailer that I've been putting up on Twitter, the trailer is really funny. Mm-hmm. But he does some stuff later on whereby you get an ability where if an enemy's further along on the platform, Sparkles' neck will just fly out in front of him, bite onto an enemy, and just pull them towards you. And you get bits where you do like almost like a bit of a Bionic Commando thing, where you jump off a level and there might be like a little lever sort of hanging in the sky, and Sparkles will tell you to press like right knuckle button, and Sparkles will sort of leer his head towards it, grab on, pull you up, and almost as if like firing yourself off like an elastic band. You'll just go like poing in the opposite direction. There's zip lines later on. There's little animals that are bouncing around the levels that you can hit, and they just instantly turn into like things to eat, or they fall onto spikes and go like, ow. There's lots of Trump noises. So when you like land on certain things, they'll go like. It's very, very funny, and like I say, couch co-op. You and Laura will have a whale of a time. It's absolutely your sense of humour.
Oh shit, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's stupidly funny. I had the other day. There was a whale in the ocean when I visited this like pirate pier, and the whale was quite self-conscious because of it weight, and you just end up getting her a bikini.
Okay.
It's really, really bizarre and strange. And Mr. Rock, it's just the greatest thing. I've had him with a hat that looks like a cactus at certain points. He's now dressed up in an outfit that's like a ghost from Pac-Man.
Oh my god!
With a little hole cut out for his face. Yeah, there's loads of different bonuses when you level up that you get. You can chuck out bombs, and you get loads of potions and stuff that you can use, and it's mental, but it's seriously good and so deserves to sell. And I think you and Laura would have a great time on Couch Co-op with it because it is daft as balls.
Put it on the list.
Please do, because I think you'll enjoy it a great deal. And I want it to sell. Games this good deserve to sell. And humour's a very strange thing within games, and I'm playing Swords of Ditto on PS4 at the minute, and the writing is the sort of humour is kind of where it seems to be someone that's trying to write humorously, but it doesn't come across well.
Oh, they're trying to write here's my joke now.
Yeah,
but it's Swords of Ditto, the one that looks a little bit like sort of like a homage to like that sort of top-down old school Zelda thing.
Essentially, it is Scott Pilgrim meets Zelda. No, it's really good.
No, it doesn't look. I mean, I don't have a lot of affinity for that style of game. Is the thing. No, like, I don't at all. It's
a good game thus far. A really good game. It's very linked to the past. It's very. It does riff on Zelda quite a lot, but it looks lovely. The writing's a little bit off, but the game itself is great. Not to the point where it's off-putting, but having played the Adventure Pals and just pissed myself laughing constantly at the humour, seeing writing where you just go kind of, a little bit try hard maybe.
It's like I remember I played a game called Stick It to the Man a while ago. That was really, really funny. Like, I laughed my head off at almost every joke in that. Like, it was all, like, very, very well played. And then I played... What was it? It's, like, similar sort of... It's Manual Samuel. And it kind of... Again, it felt a little bit forced.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. It didn't feel like... It was funny, but it wasn't, like, kind of, like, piss yourself laugh. It was kind of like, huh.
Yeah, with Swords of Ditto, it's kind of... The writing is sort of, okay. Or you kind of look and you're just going, And I lose patience a little bit. When things are going like, blah, 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 as the writing's coming on. And even if you like pressing to get all of it on screen at once, I can get a little bit impatient with the dialogue when the writing isn't my sort of thing.
You end up moaning the button to get through it, just to get on with the video game.
With the Adventure Pals, I've been laughing out loud because it completely is my sort of thing. And it's genuinely surreal and stupid and bizarre, and 100% recommending the Adventure Pals. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best games this year.
Wow. Skyfall's spell has been wrung.
Certainly the best platformer that I've played in a long, long, long time.
That's impressive.
I think you'd have fun. I think you and Laura would have a good giggle at it.
I think we might get it.
Yeah, please do, because this is one that I stupendously think that you'll have a good time with and thank me for.
Oh,
it's not that expensive either.
It's cheap, isn't it?
I'm sure there was a discount when I got, because I picked it up on Switch because purely because I can imagine going somewhere on a bus or a train or something and just going like, I'd like this to be able to take with me. But
that's difficult. No, that's a difficult sell for me, because I don't want to play something where there's the possibility that I might piss myself laughing in public.
There is that. I hadn't really thought about that.
Because I've had that with podcasts in the past, when I've been walking to work and like someone will say something and I'll just like be weeping with laughter walking down the middle of the road at sort of 9 o'clock in the morning with people looking like, you alright? Like, I'm like, oh, fine.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered that. But the thing is, the game is so good that I can imagine going on a long journey and it would just dissolve time. And it does put me in such a good mood playing it. Because it's so well meaning, and the fights are really fun. There's hot dogs with laser guns. There's mad cats. There's things that explode and make Trump noises. It's just great. I like it. So
is that proof that to make you to win you over, a game just has to have a good set of fart sounds in it?
It has to be said, the Trump noises do continually make me laugh, just because I know there's certain enemies that if I land on top of them, they'll just go like just like fly off like popped balloons. And I don't know. There's something very that distills something very childish and childlike in me in this.
Farting, always funny.
It's just I can't really say any more than that. But it is great. Please, everyone, buy it. It's there was a conversation that I had on Twitter about this, where I will jump onto to find which fine gentleman it was if I can. But he was saying like he picked it up and he's played. Oh yeah, it's Pete Lawson, Mr. Worry. He was saying that he really enjoyed it, but he can't get on it because his kid's playing it. And he can't get on the game because his kids are having so much fun, which is, that's
a good problem to have.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm happy when a recommendation brings that sort of stuff to the fore as well. So happy.
Well done, you.
What's your final one, bro?
My final one, I've got a platformer as well.
Oh, go for it.
I bought a game on a whim based on the art on the Vita store of all things. I bought Iconoclasts.
The name rings a bell. Tell me
Iconoclasts. It came out about a month and a half ago. It's a one-guy project. Like, one man made this game. Javier something. I can't remember now. Santorello, I think? I've probably got that massively wrong. It's definitely JS, the initials, definitely. But one guy's been making this game for about 12 years now. Like, and when I say everything, I mean like the art, the animation, the gameplay, the programming, the music, all of it. Which is pretty fucking impressive. Because it's really, really, like, well put together. Like, it's very Mega Drive, SNESy.
Okay.
That sort of era. Like, it's nice, vibrant graphics, but in that same way that Shovel Knight plays how you think NES games used to play, although it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, I like the look of this.
But it plays better. Yeah, like it plays like those games kind of you remember them playing, but it's like sharp. Like everything just works. It's kind of a mix of wrench combat, and you've got a gun as well. So you can smack enemies, and you can spin the wrench, which will kind of stun things, and you can charge things up with electric with it. And you've got a pew pew gun, and you've got a bomb gun as well. You get later on. So you kind of your classic kind of Metroidvania type thing where you pick up powers as you go. So every kind of hour or two in the game, you pick up a new power, and you can do new stuff with it. The actual fun of the game, it's not the killing of the enemies, it's the solving of the puzzles. Every area presents kind of a new challenge to make your way through, and oftentimes the platforming I find is the more interesting part compared to just, shooting the mans. I found a lot of the puzzle areas a lot more taxing than I expected and requiring a lot more precision. And then there was one particular one where I was trying to get a bomb through a gap to hit a switch, and I was doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. I was losing my mind. I couldn't get this bomb in the gap. I managed it after about 5 minutes of doing it. I went, yes, I did it. Brilliant. Doors open. Right. But I didn't go to the left yet. I went to the next screen to the left, and there's a platform I could have just pushed there to stand on to shoot the bomb through without any problem. So I was going to jump shot this bomb through this thing, and it was working 1 in 20 times. And I could have just gone and pushed the thing, stood on top, and done it in one shot. So, here's my tip: always look around you. The world's really well realised, really pretty, really well put together. The graphics are gorgeous, really, really nice. It's a lot of care's been put into the world, and it's a lot of fun to move around in the world. The storyline is interesting.
Were you talking with Peter Cleaves about this a little while ago?
Yes, I was. Yeah,
yeah, I remember it now.
It's how do I say this? The storyline is the kind of storyline you'd expect out of a game that's been being made for 12 years. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's got quite a sort of pseudo-religious bent to it almost, where like the main character's a mechanic, and you're not allowed to be a mechanic unless, you know, the Order have allowed you to be one. It's called like the Order or the Inquisition or something like that. It's one of those kind of sets of people, but it's all very techno magic. And kind of these kind of people turn up every now and again with like ridiculous superpowers that just kick the living shit out of anything that's near them, and they sort of wander off. Really nice cast of characters. Like there's lots of varied personalities and stuff going on. There's a character called Royal who's on kind of ostensibly on the bad guy's side, but seems to be a reasonable guy-ish, I guess, if a little bit stuck up his ass. Like he seems to like want to meet you and talk to you as a person rather than being like, I am the heir to the throne, blah 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 blah. Like he seems to be genuinely sort of haunted and troubled by his position and his powers that he's got, which is kind of cool. There's some sort of magic thing. There is a sky worm that everyone prays to that they all call like he or him. They only call it he and him, capital he, capital him. And it's like this sky worm thing, and if we don't behave, the sky worm will come and just fuck everything up. And, you know, one thing comes to another, and the sky worm comes and fucks everything up, you know, as expected. But yeah, it's quite... The problem I've got with the story, I enjoyed it. I think if I was playing it again, I'd just mong the skip button and get on with the game.
Okay.
The reason being is it's an interesting story, but it's very, very wordy. And what you were saying earlier about kind of just pressing yep. Like, every single conversation goes on about 10 lines longer than it probably could have done. Like, it gets very deep about, like, you know, very sort of moral, very sort of... Like, oh, well, you say you should do this, but I don't think you should because of this. Well, that's not good. If you do that, then are you even a good person because of that? Well, I don't think so. Well, if you do that, what do you think about that? It's interesting, but I think it's only interesting once.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and I enjoy, like, it's very preachy. Like, I think one of the kind of the very rough themes of it is, hey, religion's bad. Like, that's... feels like one of the rough themes, and it's not quite that cut and dry, but it's kind of got hints of it in there, and there's sort of hints of other stuff, you know, like don't believe what your government tell you because they're not always right, and you know sometimes people are good and they're not, or you know good people do stupid stuff sometimes. You know, there's some characters in there that are very, very flawed, you know, that make mistakes, and there's some really like horrible like lore stuff that you find out later in the game about how these superpowered people are, you know, chosen and turned into super people. Like, you sort of... There's a very definite moment where you walk into a room and you're like, oh, fuck. I suddenly get everything and I'm disgusted by the whole thing. Like,
my interest is piqued,
It was a good moment, and it's kind of difficult. Like, there's bits of the game that are hard. The boss fights are fucking brilliant. Like, I think there's about 15 or 16 boss fights in the game, and every single one is, like, different and unique and fun. I played the shit out of them. Like, really, really good boss fights. And I think I did most of them on my first try, but it was always really close run. Like,
I think there's something to be said for a boss fight that's quite widescreen and quite, you know, filmic, where you're just like, oh, this is spectacle.
Absolutely. The stuff that happened, like, shit, what do I do? Uh-oh, oh dear. There was a boss fight that I failed at 6 times in a row before realising, oh yeah, I can use that switch over there, can't I? Derp. Like... it lets you switch between another character every now and again, so you can kind of control. Her name is Mina. She's like a person that lives in an underwater secret place and runs around with a shotgun. Between the two of you, you kind of have to solve boss fights between you. So you have to flip between characters mid-fight, which is kind of fun. Yeah, it's a great, like, fun game to play. I enjoyed the playing of it, but I think the storyline, I think the plot stuff it's interesting, but it slows you down. And I think Pete definitely bounced off that stuff quite hard because it is not quick. And you have to be willing to kind of give it the time to build the characters up and to understand the motivations. And there's a lot more going on than, we need to save the world. Like,
but you say it's a passion project for the
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can see just how much work has gone into it. Like, just... every single, like, design, every pixel, every... Like, on the... inside the houses, for instance, you go into a few houses, and you can just jump up to the top level, but there's, in the background, obviously a staircase there.
Yeah, you can admire it for what it is, and I think there's something to be said for. And I'll go into something about this in the next time that we have a nerd chat, but there's something to be said for admiring something which has got ambition and enjoying its successes and its flaws in equal measure, rather than some sort of po-faced, tonally second-guessed, just smooth ride.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, but that was my third thing. Iconoclasts.
Right, we're just over the 2-hour mark, so we'll
quite short for us.
Farewell. Yeah, I thought it's been nice to catch up on this sort of stuff, and nice to say hello personally as well again.
Yeah, hi.
So we'll be back with New to Humanity soon, and then undoubtedly another one of these beforehand. So and see you soon.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Cheer, bye.